are we looking?
Actually, I think the stars are looking pretty good if you're anybody other than a Rays fan. Unfortunately. Yeah, I know, and that's kind of indicative of the moon in Capricorn. People are going, ooh, that was harsh. But that's the nature of the moon in Capricorn. But what we're going to talk about is Venus, the planet of love, is moving backwards. Yeah. Normally it goes forward, but every 14 months or so it seems to stop its forward motion and to go backwards. And whatever place in your chart that it stops and goes backwards is where you have to examine the love principle in your life. And normally Venus means acquiring things, and when Venus goes retrograde, it's not. So I thought I'd go through all 12 signs and talk about what they can expect.
Okay, let's see what
Libras. For Libras, it's in their second house of money. So the interesting thing for Libras is they were in a position over the last 3 weeks or so to make more money, and they keep waiting for the check to show up, and it hasn't shown up yet. And odds are that check is going to be delayed a little bit until probably about the early November time span. So they shouldn't, it's sort of like, it's owed to you, and you are going to get it, you're just not going to get it right away, which is better news than never getting it at all, I suppose. So don't throw anything at me. For Scorpios, it's all about who do they love, what do they love, and what people matter to them, what things that they love. Over the next 4 weeks or so, Scorpios are going to be examining all of their relationships, their interpersonal relationships, and some need to go by the wayside because they take more than you get in return for it. But that's what the next 4 weeks or so is, to decide who stays, who goes, or what stays and what goes. Because it's not just who you love, it's what you love, but it's the love principle. Sadly for Sagittarians, gotta give more than they get.
No, I know about that.
I know, and they hate that. But Sagittarians have had a pretty good run, so they could be gracious over the next 4 weeks or so and say, okay, I will give a little more than they get. And it's sort of like a selfless kind of thing. They have to do things out of the goodness of their heart. Help those either in their families who come, not necessarily strangers, but anybody they come in contact with over the next 4 weeks or so. Sagittarians need to give a little more than they get. It'll come back. It'll come back to them, because the energy you put out is the energy you get back. For Capricorns, this is the time for Capricorns to rely on their well-placed, powerful female friends. Capricorns are trying to accomplish, to reach a couple of long-standing hope, wishes, goals, and objectives, and they cannot do it alone. Capricorns are big fans of saying, leave me alone, I'll do it myself. This is not the time for Capricorns to do that. If they have female friends, in particular, powerful female friends, if they can tap them and say, hey, I need your help, and the Capricorn and the friend says, sure, I'll be glad to, the Capricorn should graciously accept that help, because they're not going to be able to do it alone. It's going to require a team effort. For Aquarians, they need to stay out of the professional crossfire. There's some sort of battle going on at work, and it doesn't directly involve the Aquarian. So the Aquarian needs to kind of stay out of the line of fire and really not pick sides until you're really sure who the winner's going to be. And that won't be until the beginning of November. So Aquarians are best served to be like Switzerland and try and remain neutral if they can. For Pisces, legal, educational, travel matters. The law's on their side. Important matters at a distance go their way, which is very cool. Travel plans go well for them. And I'm a big fan of, when the law's on your side, you should use it. I don't think you ought to club people over the head with it, but you can stand on it. And Pisces have that particular advantage, which is good because Pisces never get an advantage. So it's kind of nice the universe is smiling on them. For Aries, it's about other people's resources flowing their way. Aries are, over the next 4 or 5 weeks or so, are going to be trying to maximize an existing resource or capitalize on an existing resource. And the thing I have to say to Aries is, don't turn down an offer because you think you should get more. To the Aries, they might have an unrealistic expectation of exactly what that's worth. And if they want to drag it out, go ahead. But if I were you, I would take the money, Aries, and run like a thief. For Tauruses, Venus is in their 7th house of partners. Their partnerships go well. Their marriage goes well. Their professional life goes well. And there are some sort of accolades that are in store for them. If you're a single Taurus, now's the time to meet someone. If you're a married one, that goes pretty well. That you have the support of your partners, which is a pretty cool thing. For Geminis, this is in their 6th house of work. So Geminis have gotten another job. They don't necessarily get paid for the job, and they don't even necessarily get the title for the job right away. But that will evolve over the next 3 or 4 weeks or so, and they should end up in a better work position than when they started out. And the other thing for Geminis is they'll get that medical stuff taken care of. It's not as bad as you think it's going to be. For Cancers, they want to have a good time. Venus, the planet of love, is in their 5th house of love affairs, amusements, pleasures, sports, children. So they really want to find a way to give birth to either a actual child or a child of their mind. But they're in the process of bringing something new that's the byproduct of love and creativity, and ought to be a pretty cool thing for them. For Leos, much like our beloved leader, they're sticking a little close to home.
Yeah, he's staying home.
Venus is in their 4th house of home. And they have really been burning the candle at both ends to the point where they're almost out of candle. And it's a good thing because either they slow themselves down or the universe will slow themselves down. And they need to regenerate. They'll be okay, but they have been running so hard, so long, that it's hard for them to keep their energy levels up. So they're actually best served by sticking a little closer to home, and while they're there, they'll figure out a whole bunch of new projects to work on. For Virgos, boy, the pace of their day-to-day living is picking up to warp speed. They have got places to go, people to see, things to do. They want to get there now. They're trying to cram more things into a day than they can possibly do, and I got to warn them not to get speeding tickets because they're not going to be able to talk their way out of those. But some sort of negotiation that they've been working on for 4 or 5 months, they're still in the process of working the details out, but at the end of this retrograde, they find out that they have built a new structure in their life that really works very, very well for them. So I don't really think there's a whole lot of bad news as far as that goes.
Okay, sounds good.
And that's tomorrow's news today.
And that'll be on our website.
The 12 signs of the zodiac.
Go to myq105.com, and Andrew's putting the video together, and we'll have that. And we still got a chance for you to win in just a little bit. We got the contest Name That Number One at about 8:45.